my last mission. I'm currently recovering in a hospital in Guam, and with nothing better to do, I finally decided to tell someone about what happened to me a month ago, even if it's just nonsense people on the internet. Too much about missing is secret for me to be able to tell people I know around me. Instead, I can say that I'm a soldier with good guys, and we currently forced the bad guys into one last stronghold. It was a small, rural town that had previously been filled with displaced women and children. That meant we couldn't bomb the area, the Kingdom Come, or even attempt surgical strikes with missile landings and drones. Too risky. The brass said instead we encircled, and besides, there was no attempt at negotiation. Eventually we knew they were low on ammunition when they stopped taking pot shots at us. We knew they were low on food when the kids started making desperate raids just to get to the fields outside the walls. We got there when we could. For everything else we needed to know, we had a man on the inside. His code name was Arnold. He let us know when the bad guys had finally had enough. In response, we retaliated on just one corner, a gap that had led to plains we could safely bomb a retreating enemy. It wasn't long before Arnold crept outside himself and told us when the bad guys were planning their breakout. I was part of a group that laid in wait along the planned escape route. We just needed to herd them in between two hills. After that, there would be no escape from the waiting attack helicopters. It was a simple plan, but one that we had executed several times before. Arnold wouldn't go back. He was terrified that the others were onto him. The higher-ups let him stay to give final security updates to us on the front lines. He was a nervous, skinny, with wild, unkempt hair, and delivered by far the strongest briefing I have ever sat through. He told us about how there were 600 men still fighting fit inside those walls. He explained how only every third man would actually have bullets in his rifle, but there was still a healthy supply of grenades and mortars among them. He even went over the names and looks of the lead bad guys because he still thought we were interested in taking prisoners. But then he started talking about the weird rituals and black magic the mystics and religious leaders employed. They were actually slaughtering potential food sources every night for solace from above or below. This was to our benefit because we would likely be fighting delusional and malnourished soldiers. Soon it was time. As night fell, Arnold went beyond the hills in the direction. Our waiting command unit, we hunkered down in our defensive position and watched as a small door opened and solitary scout walked forward when nothing happened to him. He signaled to the door, and a line of brigade men with a variety of small arms slowly followed. There wasn't exactly the floodlights we were expecting, so no action was taken at first. But when the men started to spread out, we needed to literally get them back in line before they noticed how screwed they really were. We fired warning shots and were rewarded by the increasing pace. And then the world exploded. At least that's what it felt like. Earth showered over me as I heard my teammates scream through seemingly never-ending thunder. We had been shelled with a near-direct hit. Our other groups were seemingly hit with accuracy too good for just luck to be involved. I immediately scanned the nearby town for spotters when a zipping sound caused an instinctive belly flop. Those dirty cowards were taking advantage and storming our positions, while even more poured out the door. I wasn't sure where to aim, but luckily, I didn't need to think for myself. My commander appeared out of nowhere and instructed some of us to deal with the approaching threat and the rest to focus on digging foxholes. He grabbed me by the shoulders and pulled me behind a large rock. Another mortar cell hit, thankfully just pelting us with more dirt and rocks, but still way too close for comfort. The commander shoved the sniper rifle into my hands as he roared above the noise. "I heard you're the best shot in your unit." And when he just pointed me towards the town, I followed his gaze and saw a large church tower, the highest building around. with a dark shape filling the window to the bell chamber. I quickly raised the rifle to my chest and looked through the scope. For just a split second before firing, that's all the time I needed. The dark shape fell away, and the commander slapped me on the back in approval. To my horror, a new shape appeared in seconds, on the flat roof of the same tower. This time the shape was half the size of the first. I loaded my rifle. The commander leaned in my ear and said, "Every enemy you kill will mean life saved, son. Do not stop firing." I started to protest, but he continued, "For God's sake, man, that's not a kid. Didn't Arnold tell you that they got dwarfs on their side?" I nodded, even though I didn't remember Arnold saying anything of that sort, but I was desperate for the lie to be true. And while the commander nudged my rifle back towards the town, I looked through the scope. The shape was blurry, but could have been anyone at this distance. I even convinced myself some of that blur was a beard. So I fired. The shape fell down. I wondered what to think. The next shape took its place was even smaller. I froze for what seemed like minutes. The commander yelled at me. Then he hit me, but I only responded by dropping my rifle. The small shape far away raised its tiny arms and pointed at us while the earth exploded around us again. And again. And again. The commander disappeared, but only for a moment. Somehow he had Arnold with him. Our mole was clearly freaked out to be here, but knew what needed to be done. He whispered into my ear, but I heard every word clearly. He told me about how he had lied during our briefing. Animals weren't being sacrificed. It had always been the kids of the town. They had been killed one by one to summon demons in their place. He assured me that I was looking at a demon right now. I grabbed the rifle and slowly raised it once more as Arnold described the horrific rituals. I looked at the dark shape through the scope and witnessed the blurry thing on the other side growing. The body wasn't getting bigger. Instead, legs like spiders grew out of the thing's back and lifted it off the ground. I shot high trying to hit center mass, but the thing ducked low, so I fired again and my aim was true. The whole quivering, shrieking mass fell off the tower. Actually, I wasn't sure how I could hear its unhuman shrieks from here, or whether it was hearing the shrieking of our own sides injured. Either way, I could only hear anything because the mortar rounds had slowed. I was making a difference. But another small shape appeared. This time, I clearly saw glowing red eyes and tentacles where hands should have been. I quickly fired again, and again, and another shape took its place, and again, and again. There was no hesitation anymore. Once I had stopped thinking and just accepted my situation, everything got easier. I stopped feeling too. I might have stopped breathing. At least some part of me definitely stopped existing. I found myself next to the mortar shell and following me, but I kept those spotters from finding us. And to the next moment, nothing else on the top of the tower. The rest of my forces killed or pushed back into the town, then soldiers. We had peace and quiet for a good hour. During that time, we regrouped, resupplied, and positioned ourselves for the final push. And once on cue, the remaining enemy pulled out of the town with a surprising frightening speed. To my horror, each and every one of them was monsters-like shapes I had been witnessing from afar, but now they were much closer, much clearer, and bigger with every leap towards my direction. It was me they were after. I was sure of it. The other groups ignored, and the mass of tentacles, insect legs, and long needle-like teeth only pursued me when the hill I was on. Although there might have been another explanation. Arnold screamed about how they were after him, how they knew he had been the one to squeal about them. Either way, he was terrified, but there was nowhere to run to. The nightmare before us moved far faster than any man ought to. Our only salvation lay in our superior firepower, so we opened up. At this distance, I saw that had only been hinted from afar, bullets ripping apart heads, tearing through limbs, making ribcage explode with gore. By the time that demonic horde was on top of us, it was a third its starting size, but it did get on top of us. Our long guns were dropped for the flexibility of sidearms and heard the hand-to-hand combat. However, all my group could do was hold them off long enough for our allies to surround and finish. While we waited, I stabbed again and again by the sharp ends of snake-like arms and biting several times by a little mouth that resembled a piranha's. Several of my men fell to worse. Eventually, I lost my balance and fell when a squid-like abomination lunged itself into my chest. I jammed my combat knife into its head and was rewarded with an inky black substance spraying all over me, but I was alive, mostly, too exhausted to get back up, and wounded dozens of times. The only thing I could manage to do was pass out. They say when I was found, my finger was inside a grenade pin, one barely attached to a grenade on my wrist. All I knew was from when I regained consciousness, while I started raising into the air, I had been strapped to a gurney hanging from a helicopter and flown to a nearby base for immediate medical treatment. Before I lost consciousness again, I looked down at my now dark red uniform. A knife was still there, having been plunged in my stomach and bandaged in a place that not further damaged anything. I had no idea what had gotten there, but I just closed my eyes and didn't open them again. For the rest of the night, I was bounced around multiple hospitals until I finally ended up here, a nice quiet hospital in Guam that was equipped to deal with my injuries and rehab. I'm not the only one in my unit to survive. Far from it, in fact, I was the only one that was the worst wounded, but one of those killed was Arnold. He had fallen to a horrific horde that was buried with them in a mass grave. Everything about our mission was classified to the highest level. I still lay awake at night, thinking of those small blowy shapes. When the helicopter was lifting me out of the massive bodies, I had almost turned my head to see the carnage. I had looked to see what those monsters looked like in light of day, but I couldn't. I was too scared what I'd see.